And Paris, as you know, there's currently a grassroots effort by leaders in the city and state to hold weekly briefings to provide messaging regarding immigration from trusted sources to make sure community members know their rights. Well, they held a news conference earlier this morning to provide updates and the release of an immigration dashboard. And joining us is Ere Rendon. She is with the Resurrection Project to explain what's happening. Thanks for coming in. We just have Paris out there live at Broadview. Tell us what you know about what's going on at Broadview. What's going on inside?
Yeah, well, when folks are detained in the community, the first place they are usually taken to is Broadview. Broadview is a processing center. Nobody should have to sleep there. But what we're actually seeing happen is folks are staying there 4 or 5 days. And because it's a processing center, means there's no beds, there's no cafeteria, there's no showers. And so folks are going that long without being able to sleep on a bed, oftentimes because they're so crowded, sleeping sitting down. They don't turn the lights off. The lights are on 24 hours a day. There's no window, so no fresh air is coming in. And from what we've been told from some of the folks after they get moved from Broadview is that they've actually been ordering kids' meals for them to eat. And so folks are really hungry.
Do you have any idea how many people are being detained there at a time? Because they're coming in and out.
The only thing we know from reports from folks who have been in there and people have, when they have been transferred to a detention center and we can talk to them, they've told us that anywhere from 150 to 200 people on any given day are inside of Broadview.
And one of the things I've heard that you guys are very concerned about is that the attorneys aren't able to talk to clients. Once people go in there, you don't necessarily have the access that you should legally have a right to.
Yeah, so constitutionally, every single person in the U.S. has access to an attorney. We do not have the right to a free attorney in immigration, but we do, through nonprofits, have been helping to find attorneys for our clients. But our constitutional rights are being violated. There is not a single way for us to be able to communicate with our clients who are detained inside of Broadview. And so folks, while they're there, it's a black hole. We can't talk to them. We don't know what we can't tell them what to expect about their cases. We can't do intake. And so folks are, overwhelmed when they're inside, and we have no way of reaching them.
So you guys have this dashboard that you've put together to let people know what their rights are. You guys all got together to talk about that this morning. What do you want to say to people who are saying, ICE is doing its job? It is arresting people who are here illegally, people who are here who are criminals and they're illegals. What do you want to say to people who are making that argument? And I want you story that you have seen firsthand, because you have seen a lot about somebody who doesn't fit that category.
Yeah, well, ICE is breaking the law every single day when they do illegal racial traffic stops based on racial profiling. ICE is breaking the law every single day when they're arresting children. We've seen children as young as 3 years old who have been arrested during these raids. ICE is breaking the law every single day when we are denied an ability to just talk to our clients. And so what we're seeing is that the folks that are getting detained are immigrants. Almost all of them have zero criminal record. I think you saw Silverio, who was killed. They claimed that he had a criminal record. He had a driving without a driver's license violation. And so even the folks that do have some sort of history, it's usually for driving without a driver's license. If ICE really wanted to be clear and wanted to demonstrate this, they would release their own data, but they do not release data. What we do know is that over 60% of the people from January through the end of July have zero criminal convictions. And what we do know is that right now, we have families who are being detained, folks who are 65 and over, folks who have been here for 10, 15, 20 years, people who are just on their way to work. They're pulling people over because they're driving trucks and they're clearly construction workers. And so I think what we're seeing on the streets is very clear, and hopefully these dashboards will demonstrate the number of arrests, the type of community members we're seeing, and that the tactics that they're using is racial profiling.
And so you are keeping track of all of this as much as you can to try to prove a point?
Yeah, so you can go to trpimmigrantjustice.org and see our dashboards. We will be updating them every week.
Eddie, what do you want to say to maybe people who are watching at home who are afraid to go back out? I heard you talking about that people are afraid to go to work, they're afraid to go to the grocery store, they're afraid to go to the criminal courts building for whatever reason. What do you want to say to people who are home and watching and hearing about this dashboard today?
Yeah, it is very scary. When you are an immigrant right now, especially if you are vulnerable to deportation, you have to think about every single time you go out. But for many of us, there's absolutely no choice. You still have to go to work because we still have to pay all of our bills. You still have to feed your kids. You still have to go to school. And so unfortunately, when we now know that every single time we leave our houses, we may not come back. And those are very difficult conversations that all of us are having with our families, and particularly heartbreaking for the moms that have to have those conversations with their kids.
Okay, and for more information, people then should go to the Resurrection Project or IllinoisImmigrationInfo.org.
You can go there. You can also go to trpimmigrantjustice.org.
Thank you for coming. We appreciate your time.